Hello, back again, Mr. Greg. Coach Ramsey's not here for this one, so today I'm going to focus on creating equations from word problems. So I'm going to give you a few strategies, some ways to think about it, and so let's just get started. You can pause it anytime and read it a couple times. I'm just going to fly right through it so you can pause it and kind of read and try to see where I'm getting things. So when I read it, I tend to read the question first. I just want to see what's it want me to find. How many additional minutes A? So right here's some English for us. Right here where they go comma, comma, A. So when you see that, that A is representing what was before it. So anywhere we have the variable A, it's going to represent a number of additional minutes. So whatever we're talking about, if they charge me something for additional minutes, that letter A is the number of minutes. So I got to keep that in mind. So that's useful information. It tends to come at the end. So how many additional minutes will it take for the two plans, so there's two plans, to cost the same? So right there, they're telling me it costs the same, two plans. So as I reread it, I know this plan is going to be the same, equal sign, the other plan. So now I just need to read it, get my information, figure out what goes with the letter A, and what each plan is going to cost. Tim chooses between two plans. Singular's plan charges $39.99 per month. So that's, am I going to pay that more than once a month? No. So that's like a constant. It's a one-time fee. So I'm going to put singular over here. So $39.99. And then it says per month with additional minutes costing. So right now, I'm going to also pay 45 cents per additional minute, A. So now I've got singular's plan. So now I'll keep reading. Verizon's plan is this much. So I'm going to pay $44.99 for that month. And an additional minutes are going to cost me 40 cents. 140. So now we've set up our equation. This is normally the hardest part. So now we just solve it like we used to. I look at it and think logically, this plan starts off cheaper, but they're charging me 5 cents more per minute. This plan over here costs more, but they're charging me less. So in the long run, if I use a lot of minutes, this is probably going to be cheaper. If I'm not going to use too many minutes, this is going to be cheaper. But again, we're finding out what's going to make them cost the same. So this has $5 more as a fee. This one's 5 cents more per additional minute. So now I divide that, and we're going to find that each additional, or the number of additional minutes is 100. So if I pay for singular's plan, if I use less than 100 minutes, that's the plan I'm going to use. If I'm going to use more than 100 minutes, I'm going to go over here to Verizon. And these are made up numbers. I don't know Verizon singular charge. These are made up numbers. I just use two names for common, just so kids can see it better. So there's one example. So come to this one again. I'm going to read the sentence last, the question sentence first. How many downloaded songs D? So it's doing that again. It's got a segment here. And this is not an all-word problem, but it is here. It must be purchased for them to cost the same as iTunes. So again, two plans. Two plans we're comparing. So something's going to equal something else. So per song from iTunes is 99 cents per song. And that's all they say. So for them, it's just going to be 99 letter D. That's all you pay. The other one has a $10 membership fee. So with that membership fee, does it say it repeats ever? No, it's just a one-time thing. So that plus 89 cents per downloaded song. No future period. So if I'm going to solve it, I'm going to bring this variable over here, so I don't have a 0 floating around over here. Subtract the 89 cents, which is 10 cents of the difference in the sums. And this one had a $10 fee, whereas this one didn't. So D would be 100. So the 100 sums, they cost the same. Again, remember, you can pause it when the video clicks to the next slide. Here we have another one. Again, read that last sentence. How many minutes M will it take for the 2 containers to have the same amount of water? Same amount. So I've got 2 containers and they have M in them. This one has 200 liters it started with, being filled. So filled is increasing 6 every minute. The other one is being drained. So 500 milliliters drained at 6 every minute. So we take variable, move to the other side, either one of them. I'm going to add 6 here, 6 here. So 200 plus 12M plus 500. Subtract the constant, the 200. So 12 equals 300. I'm not got enough room to divide that. You'll have how many minutes it takes for these 2 containers to be the same. So one's going down, the other's coming up, and then they are equal. Same type of question, cost the same. There's 7 for the first pound, and then they're charging 20 cents for each additional pound. Which you could put X here, but they're telling me they want the variable P, so I'm going to use what they specify. What they say to use it. If it's just you making one to solve because you're trying just to get the answer, X, Y, it doesn't matter. It's what's logical to you. So $5.30 per pound. And then we solve it. Subtract 10, subtract 2. I subtracted this, subtracted this, plus 5, then I minus the 5 over here, got a 2, divide it, 10, and then we'll get our answer, divided by 0.10, or 1/10, I mean, not 0.10. These are a little trickier. Some people think they're easier. Some think you can find the answer a lot quicker. You probably can't. But I want you to create an equation. 2 this time. Move the variable to different sides because they can represent it multiple ways. How many ink cartridges can you buy with $192 if one costs $16? Well, you would think I can just divide that to get the answer, right? But how would I write that as an equation? Well, I have a total of $192, and I'm buying ink cartridges, so I'm going to use C for ink cartridges. And each one of those is $16. So 16 times the number of ink cartridges should equal our total money. Well, what if I write it this way? Should this also be true? Yeah. Total amount of money I have divided by the number of ink cartridges should equal 16 if we can buy a whole number amount, which we can. So there's one example. These get a little tricky. Let's try this one. Sandy found 64 seashells on the beach. She gave Mike some of her seashells. She has 26 left. How many did she give Mike? So, what she gave to Mike is our variable. I'm going to use the letter G. It's giving away. So, I can think of it and reread it logically. Just think, what can I use this letter G, the amount I give away? What can I use that G with? How can I use it with either number in the situation? Well, I have 64. If I subtract what I give away, I then should have the total that's left. And that makes sense. Well, if I take what I had left and add what I gave away, I should get the total. Both of these are correct. You can work them out, solve them, get the correct answer either way. Again, we're focusing on writing the equations in multiple ways. Alright, Mary had 28 peaches left. Sounds very similar to what we just had. She went to the orchard to pick more, so she went and got some. There are now 57. How many did she pick? So P, again, so I use for what she picked. So I started with some. It was 28. Then I went and got more. We don't know how many. Again, your variable is what you don't know. It's what you're looking for. Like, it's a number I don't know. So 28 plus the number she picks should equal 57. Or 57 minus what she picked should give me what we started with. And something I want you to practice doing is don't just read it 28 plus P equals 57. Don't do that. 28 what? Is it 28 chickens, 28 goats, 28 bats, 28 hits in the head? What is it? It's got to be something. It's not a number, it's a thing. So if I read it, I can check and see if it makes sense. So what you're writing down, see if it makes sense. 28. Okay, the 28 I had left plus P. What did I say P was? However many I picked. So what I had left plus what I picked is 57, the ones I have left at the stand. That makes sense. So if you get in the habit of just rereading your numbers and your equations here like a sentence, read it like a sentence. Look, so B, I'm going to use the letter B. You have $225. You're buying 9 books. Or we could go again, read it, see what you write down, see if it makes sense. Okay, here we got a multiple choice. Yay, we have a chance. But if you can read it, like I said, the numbers, you'll see some of these are stupid. They make no sense whatsoever. 150x. So what does x mean? Total cost of renting a tuxedo for X number of days. Okay, so 150 days plus 50. Let's see if that makes sense. Tuxedo rental charges $150 flat fee for a suit plus $50 a day. So is 150 being a one-time fee need to multiply the number of days? No. So that does not make sense. So, Y is supposed to represent the total cost. So this is, well, circle that. The Y is the total cost. Which equation represents the total cost of renting this for X days? It's saying the total is dependent on how many days. So some number up there goes with the number of days. $50 per additional day. So 50x is essential because it's 50 per day. And they also charge a $150 fee. So 50x doesn't have the fee included. We're not taking away that. We're paying it. So D would be correct. You could switch the order. They could switch that around. It doesn't matter. Okay, try this one, see if you can create it. Make 57 in one day. How many hours did you spend? You charged $12 for going to their house. So right there, they're automatically paying me $12 just for showing up. Now they're going to pay me $9 every hour. So there's my equation. $9 every hour plus what I charged you to show up. People don't just show up to your house to work for nothing. So if I subtract this fee, it's the first step in solving it. Remember, I always suggested subtracting the constant or adding the constant, whatever you got to do to cancel it out. Not cancel it out, make it become 0. So move that constant over here. We have $45 that we made from 9 hours working, which means we're charging $5 an hour. I better renegotiate. I'm not liking that pay. Okay, halfway mark. I'm not sure if you can see this. Yeah, the sum of. Anytime we have these sum of consecutive, they tend to have a pattern to them. Sum means adding, so I'm going to add 4 consecutive numbers, and they said odd integers, so they're getting really specific in this one. So 4 consecutive. Consecutive is one right after another, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're saying odd consecutive. So like 1, not 2, but 3, 5, 7, 9. Those are odd integers. Is 840. So we know what is 840. They give us the total. So I got 4 numbers. One number plus this number plus this number plus this number. So it's kind of a way for me to kind of show you. Number plus number plus number plus number. A lot of people just plug numbers in, type in a calculator, and just guess. Which you can do that way. But not if I'm asking you for an equation. You're going to have to show me what you're doing. So I'm going to rewrite it in a way that you might be able to understand. So what are the numbers? Well, my question there says 3 and 4, so that's clearly a typo. We'll pretend that has 4 numbers. I hope it gives us the right answer. So the first number, I don't know it, so I'm going to call it n. So there's my first number. Okay. The second number is supposed to be consecutive, so the next one is odd. Well, how far away is 1 from 3? How many numbers? Like 2 spaces away? So if that's the first one, the second would be the first number, but you add 2 to it. The next odd number would be 4 away. So it's like taking the first one and adding 4 to it. And then the next one would be like that, with adding 6. Since they're odd, they're going to be spaced 2 away from each other. So now let's combine like terms, solve the equation. 4n plus 12 equals 840. I don't know the answer, but if we get a decimal, we'll take it. If we get a decimal, then pretend it's 3, and we'll just erase the n plus 6. I'm not going to spend time doing that. I just wanted you to create it. We didn't know how to solve these. Cell phone charges 30 per month plus that per minute. So to use the words per month and per minute makes you think you're going to multiply both those. Well, we need to see what they're saying. Mr. T's January, so that's 1 month bill. So this per month is really now a fee. So it's a $30 fee. So it's $30 plus. Cell phone bill was this much. How many minutes did he talk? So this is for the minutes. So 7 cents a minute. I'll use M to get 59. Subtract 30, divide by 0.07 or 7 hundredths. Have your answer. Okay, here we go. Which of the following equations represents the day D? And there are 14 cookies left. Well, we can see here a common thing is they all have equals 14. Darn it. So let's see what's happening. You start off with 32. So here, 2 divided by 32 really doesn't make any sense. So if we're going to have 14 left, we're not going to be adding cookies. each day 2 cookies are eaten, so we're not gaining cookies. So it's between this and this. One of those represents eating 2 cookies from the total. So which one, I'm not sure. When I think about it, after 1 day, how many cookies should I have? 30, right? So if you're unsure, 32 minus 2, but times 1, because of 1 day, should equal 30. 2 times 1 is 2, that equals 30. So when I plug in a 1 right here, it actually works. If I plug in a 1 here, 32 divided by 2 times 1 equals 16. So according to that equation, after 1 day, we've got 16 cookies. I do not think that represents this situation. So another strategy here, if it's multiple choice and you know after 1 day what it would be, you could plug in the number 1 and see if you can get the correct amount. It's another strategy. Okay. $1 to rinse sand for every hour you're there. It's be a total of 38. And you should get 4 hours as your answer. Subtract 180, divide by 45, done. Oh, these are so wordy. These are my favorites to teach you how to read slower. When you read something that you can write mathematically, write it down. 4 times a number. A number, I'm going to call it in. So 4 times a number plus, hey, I can put a plus sign. 5 times the number, so 5 times that number, is the same as 10 more than 8 times the number. So with these, I suggest just read it slowly, write down what you get as you go. Basketball teams 10 more points in the second half than the first half. The final score is that. Points they scored in the first half. So there's your first half. We don't know what it is, but we know in the second half we had 10 more than the first. So we're going to have what we had in the first, but plus 10. And that should equal 82. So I'm going to parentheses this. This part right here is your second half. The first half is what we don't know. But we know in the second half we had what we had in the first, but 10 more. Then we can solve it by combining like terms. 2h plus 10 is 72. Subtract 62 by 36 points. This is a pretty long one. We've got a period right here. That's it. So here we'll make it a comparison. This you need to rent the video game and console, pay as much as you bought the console. So we're wanting to know both the video game and the console to pay as much as. So right there is our equal sign. So we want the cost to be the same. So this to be the same as it. So let's write down the 2 options. You can buy a video game for this much. There's your console, and rent a game for $7.95 per week. And again, we're talking about number of weeks, so there's your W. Or you can rent a console in the same game for a total of that much per week. So there's no other fees, it's $22.44 per week. Move our W over, subtracting it, and dividing. Here we're representing commission and percents. Remember, we got to change our percent to a number so we can use it in the expression. So right off the bat, 5% is that number. So you get 280 per week plus, and again it says here somewhere about the worth of electronic equipment in 1 week. So 1 week. And N is the number of dollars worth of stuff he sells. So commission is the word you may or may not know. Commission on sales. So however much you sell, so what he sells here, you get a certain amount of it. Like a house, somebody sells a house, sells a car, they get commission. So the more I sell, I get a little bit of what I sold. That's what the 5% is. So the 280 is what he's going to get no matter what. So we should get a 280 plus. No, 280 plus in the end. So now we know it's one of these. Most time it comes down to that percent. What is 5% as a number we can use? Hundreds, right? And we can do a video on percents another day. Which expression represents the total number of stamps she will have? So we got to understand the stamps. She buys S stamps for each week. You currently have 58. So you have 58. Okay, I'll have 58. Here they're multiplying. So am I buying 58 per week? No, I'm buying S amount every week. So we have 58, and we get S per week. So in other ones, we normally knew how many we got each week. So if I said we were getting 10 a week, you would say 10W. But instead of me saying 10, I threw S in there this time. So this would be SW. This doesn't change. We're going to add this amount times every week. Two more. So here we're talking statistics a little bit. Doesn't really belong here. I like this question anyway. So, Mr. Gregory's all your scores, yay, by 5 points. How were the mean and the range of these scores affected? Means your average, ranges the high and low. So let's say I had a low score of a 0 and a high score of a 90. Okay. If everybody's score gets 5 points, the average should increase 5 points. So the mean should increase by 5. Increase by 5. It ain't going to stay the same. Everybody's score went up, it doesn't stay the same. So did the range increase or did it stay the same? Well, if my new low score is now 5 points, and my new high score is 95 points, they're still 90 apart. So, it would stay the same. The range would not be affected by this. Again, that's just like a review. We'll do a statistics lesson another day. And this is more of interpreting the equation. This is where we get into functions. So, it's a lot of letters. It's essentially the same skill. The boiling point of water, T, measured in degrees. Okay, so T here. T is degrees, and it's dependent on the altitude A in feet. So that right there is telling me if I want to know the temperature, I need to know the altitude or how high something is in feet. So then they give me this big old formula here to represent this situation. It's negative right here. So as the feet go up, the temperature should be going down. So it should be decreasing. That's what that can tell us. In terms of altitude and temperature, which statement describes the meaning of the slope? So right here, that's what I just focused on. It's decreasing. Well, that says increase. That says increase. Just by understanding a few things, you have now a 50-50 guess to what the answer could be. So it's decreasing by 18 degrees per 1,000 feet or 1.8 degrees per 1,000 feet. There's a difference. It's that 18 and 1.8. So what I'm going to do is take the 1,000, because it's in both of them, I'm going to plug it into that equation. It says 1,000 feet. Well, feet is the letter A. So when I plug in 1,000 in for A and work this out, I'll have my answer. So 1,0018 times 1,000. It's really moving your decimal 3 places. 1, 2, 3. We find it to be 1.8. So again, you can practice these. You can get online, follow the other links I've given you, and just practice writing the equation. Maybe create your own. Swap with your friends. Text each other. This skill is very useful. Have a good day.